Young Dolph and Keith was actively participating in a specific lifestyle, right? Most people that I'm talking about that would become successful would not be participating in a lifestyle. If you from Chicago, people might think it's dangerous and all this other stuff. The number one thing anybody from Chicago gonna tell you is if you know how to move, it's safe. So if somebody would have just been going to work doing their thing, they would have been safe. We
No,
don't
bro,
be out
come
here
on,
gunning for people
come
who
on
work
now.
regular jobs and all. You don't you feel like you don't feel like that?
No, bro.
Come on, bro.
And I was
A
gonna
bullet
say,
don't have a
or
name on it,
most
bro.
of us lived together, whether you was successful, because you had to be extremely wealthy in order to live in, some of the areas that New York had. Not in New York City, it was more expensive, so a lot of people moved, to the suburbs if they could, afford
Mhm.
to do it. But it was something that you said, Viz, that was going to be my point, is that exposure is everything. You do what you see. So a lot of times when you are, depending on where you grow up, that what you see is what you think that you're supposed to do, whether it's from your parents, whether it's from you hanging outside and seeing people. It's your environment in and of itself. And like you, I think I'm a anomaly in the sense that I was in the hood, but I wasn't of the hood. So I had two different environments that I lived in. My outside, my house environment was definitely the hood, and I saw things that could probably have definitely influenced me. However, inside the house, I had both of my parents. I had both parents who were working. I had both parents who were, raising us in the church. You know what I'm saying? So I had a different influence inside my house than a lot of the friends and stuff that I had in my neighborhood. So I was able to be exposed to, crackheads and selling drugs and all of that kind of stuff that you see in a hood. But I also had a safe haven in my home. So my experience was different. But after, leaving, my parents ended up moving us out. After leaving, going back, I was like, dang, this is where we live. I couldn't see it while we were in it. And I think a lot of times that's what's going on, is that people are living in it. And until they are removed from a situation to see something different, they don't know necessarily that anything is different. Or even if you leave and go to college and you come back and you still see your friends, you kind of like, dang, you know what I'm saying? So it is a lot more to just saying, make the right choice. You have to see or be exposed to what that other choice is. And a lot of it, especially like when I was, lived in Harlem or whatever, going to the school, a lot of our kids, the kids that I was teaching, they weren't even leaving the block. The furthest I lived on 139th between 7th and 8th, furthest they went is 125th Street. You know what I'm saying? So they were not exposed to a lot of stuff. And we're assuming that these kids, we know that they have choices, but what are you choosing from? If you
That
really
was my point.
have options. And that's
So
all I'm saying. We have
I
to provide options.
I agree with that, and I'll say this, and I know Shan, we want to move on to the next one. I'll say this real quick. I 100% agree with you, absolutely. At the same time, even if you aren't exposed to it, on a I can see it right here in front of me in person, in flesh and blood. We have the internet, we have movies. You know what I'm saying?
What am
We
I
we
gonna
have
do if
we
I don't
have we
know what
have
to look up?
we no 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 no. We have those role models. So you can still create those role models out of people that we see in movies and entertainment
You
and
you talking
television.
about now or back then?
Back then,
There was no internet back then.
I'm saying we had movies back then, though.
And what was those movies about?
which is what we're doing now. It was media influence.
Bro, if we didn't, you weren't subjected to only watch hood movies
Give me
back
10
then.
movies that portray black people in a positive self-image.
10 movies that portray black people in a positive black image.
Mm-hmm.
Give me
Uh,
3.
No, 10.
I would say
I'm-
5.
10's a lot.
now,
Decide heartbeats.
Not because if you're making an argument that we had it, it should be very easily accessible to
so
produce.
I can't argue that point. And like I said earlier, I have been drinking a little bit. I have been drinking a little bit,
Okay.
so I'm not as on point as possible.
Oh man, you could have went with Spike Lee and won that easily.
I'm not a fan of Spike
I
Lee
was like,
movies.
I got some.
I'm not a fan of Spike Lee movies, just being 100. But I would say I'm not personally. I would still say that even though, of course, I grew up as a black man, I ran the streets, I indulged in all the shit. I didn't subject myself to only black images. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that I was bigger than that. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Did you believe that all things that were possible for other people were
Y'all,
possible?
no more questions. No more questions. No more questions. We're gonna get through this.
Did you think you could be president?
On.
I wouldn't want to be president.
Did you think you could?
I never had the desire to.
Did you think it was racially possible for you to be president at that time in your life?
I believe that I never had the intention to want to be president. I knew that I was I knew that I had the potential to be a pillar in my community, to serve in a manner in where I felt that I fit perfectly into it.
Did you believe that you could be president if you wanted to?
I had no desire to be the president. So I can't.
Did you believe you would even ever see a black president?
I believe that was possible. Yeah, I think that we would have saw that eventually.
We had Harold Washington.
In all
yeah.
honesty, I think in the 90s, I don't think that. I agree with him. In the 90s, I don't feel like I felt like there was a limitation on what black people would be able to do. You know what I'm saying? I had not seen a black president, but I didn't feel like there was, if I saw the right one. When I saw Obama for the first time, I knew he was going to be president.
Jesse Jackson ran for president, and y'all wasn't messing with him.
No. To me, no. So just because you're black doesn't mean you need to be president.
No,
so
that's what I'm saying.
So what I'm saying is, when I saw Obama for the first, when you give me president, I'm gonna think president. When I saw him for the first time on Oprah, nobody really knew him. She was like one of the first people who brought him to forefront. I was like, I see that. He's gonna be president. Like, it was like no doubt in your mind that he was president. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see it, you see it. It was never a limitation like, oh, but he black. No. When I saw him, I was like, oh,